Most travelers meet the Great Wall where the rails are shiny and the crowds are loud. Beyond the ticket booths, though, lies another world. Drowned gates, desert passes, and lost towers. Let's go find 10 hidden sections that turn a monument into a living, breathing landscape. The Great Wall isn't a single line. It's a braided story, a chorus of earth, brick, and wind stretched over mountains, plains, and deserts. The famous snapshots, Badaling's broad steps or Mutianyu's polished crenellations, are just the book's cover. Pretty, familiar, safe. But a cover hides chapters, and the chapters you rarely hear about are the ones that make the wall feel alive. Today, we're turning pages. 10 sections that live off the tourist map, fragile, fierce, and sometimes literally underwater. Picture an early morning haze over dark pines. The air tastes like stone, dust, and dew. As the sun walks its fingers across the hills, a ragged silhouette wakes up. The wall, yes, but not the one on brochures. This wall has broken teeth and stubborn spines. It creaks with history. And standing here, you realize something simple and enormous. The Great Wall isn't just architecture. It's a landscape of stories stitched to the skin of China. We think we know it. We don't. Out here, steps crumble into ankle twisters. Towers feel like broken molars. Lines that once commanded armies now host grass, lizards, and wind. The quiet is a kind of library, and every gust flips a page. In that hush, the secrets begin. First stop, Panjiaku, the underwater wall. Imagine a Ming Dynasty pass swallowed by a modern reservoir. In dry months, you glimpse stonework stepping into green water like a staircase for a sleeping giant. When levels rise, divers trace the dragon below the surface. It's almost surreal, the wall breathing like a whale, diving and resurfacing. But the stones are there, cold and patient, stitched into the lake's skin. History didn't end here. It learned to swim, climb a ridge, and the trick repeats at Jifengku. A brick spine slides into ripples and climbs back out on the far bank as if nothing happened. Centuries perform a magician's routine. Now you see it, now you don't. Onshore, wind skims the reservoir, and your voice feels too loud, like you've entered a cathedral. This is the opposite of the megaphone sections. This is the wall as a whispered rumor. Now pivot west to Laonyuan, where the wall greets the Yellow River, a handshake between stone and silt. Two ancient guardians nodding across a canyon. The river is the color of history itself, heavy with lows, carving a path like a sentence that refuses a period. The wall, clinging to cliffs above, reads that sentence and answers with a line of battlements. It's as if two legends from your atlas finally met on the same page and decided to travel together. Head southwest and mountains trade places with high desert. At Sanguanku in Ningxia, the wall is rammed earth, sun-baked, wind-combed, more dune than fortress. Run your hand along it, and you can feel straw in the mud, a recipe older than most mortar. Here, the wall doesn't tower, it endures. It blends with the land so completely it nearly disappears, a defensive whisper stretched across the steppe. If brick-built battlements are a speech, Sanguanku is a heartbeat. Circle back toward Beijing, but skip the polished ramps and cable cars. Aim for Baimaguan, the White Horse Pass, where an old fort's gate still frames the horizon like a time portal. The inscription runs vertically, a quirk you don't notice until you stand close. The south gate is the survivor. Everything else feels like a memory that refuses to fade. If walls could shrug, Baimagwan would. Modest, durable, unbothered by fame, still doing its quiet job of being. Continue to Zhuangdaoku, an unrestored thread that feels like stumbling onto a backstage door. No gloss, no souvenir stalls, just ridge lines, a reservoir, and a stubborn line of bricks willing to show you how the wall ages when nobody's watching. It's the difference between a stage performance and a rehearsal. Messier, quieter, more honest. Your boots translate the wall's favorite language, the crunch of gravel and the hiss of grass. At Qinglongxia, the altitude drops and the mood softens. The mountains relax their shoulders and the wall settles close to water. The name means Green Dragon Gorge. And if you look long enough, the outline of the wall really does resemble a dragon lounging after a long flight. The stones here feel friendly, approachable, like a grandparent telling stories by the riverbank. This is where history kneels to meet children at eye level. Farther west, Zhenbiancheng waits, a fortress town that once guarded a frontier and now slumbers between peach orchards and low hills. The wall rises rough and unvarnished, like a sketch left by an architect who moved on. No escalators, no fences, only thorn bushes and the hum of insects. You edge up a broken stair, and the horizon opens into that century's paradox. Nothing and everything. The kind of view that turns minutes into watchful hours. Now, please take a second to like this video. You'll help us creating better and more fascinating videos. Push deeper into the northwest, and you find Taolinku, another odd conversation between ancient stones and modern water. A dam created a reservoir. The wall adapted. Parts stare into their own reflection, while submerged segments mark the compromise. The lake becomes a scroll where ink-drawn battlements repeat, real on one shore, mirrored in the blue. It's peaceful, but the peace contains a complicated truth. Progress and preservation don't always hold hands. Still, the stones keep talking. Then head to Yulin, where Zhenbaitai lifts a massive beacon tower like a stone lighthouse for land armies. Climb it, and you feel a punctuation mark carved into sky. A full stop where messages once leapt from flame to flame. A chain of light running farther than imagination. Up there, the wind becomes an instrument, and the plains hum like a drum, reminding you that information has always wanted to fly. By now, a pattern emerges. The lesser-known wall isn't one mood, it's an orchestra. Panjiaku and Jifengku are strings, singing underwater themes. Lionyuan is brass, bold, river-strong. Sangguanku is percussion, a heartbeat under sand. Baimagwan, Zhuangdaoku, and Qinglongxia are woodwinds, carrying village smoke and quiet water. Zhenbiancheng and Taolinku add unexpected instruments, ancient ramparts with new lakes for neighbors. Zhenbeitai strikes the gong, a single resonant note that gathers the landscape into attention. The revelation isn't a single view. It's realizing that the Great Wall is a label too small. It's not a fence, it's a geography. It doesn't sit politely in one dynasty. It mutates with river levels, wind, war, and need. It wears brick in one province and rammed earth in the next. It dives, climbs, frays, and reappears. It's a living map of everything earlier China feared and hoped, distilled into stone, soil, and silence. Every step you take touches strategy, sweat, weather, and waiting. So let's loop back through the 10 doors and the feelings they leave. At Panjiaku, curiosity wears a wetsuit. History doesn't drown. It changes depth. At Jifengku, the wall becomes amphibious, and boundaries prove they can slide, yet still stand. Laonyuan shows the wall making peace with a river too old to be impressed. It chooses balance over bravado. Sangwangku teaches that strength isn't always height. Sometimes it's stubborn earth weathering 1,000 small storms. Baimagwan offers a gate that outlived its garrison, a reminder that the frame can survive the picture. Zhuangdaoku invites us to accept cracks, because authenticity breathes through them. Qinglongxia proves the wall isn't always an epic. Sometimes it's a quiet poem read beside a low river. Zhenbiancheng whispers that the frontier is a feeling more than a line on a map. Talinku demonstrates the uneasy conversation between modern need and ancient memory. Zhenbeitai, finally, looks across the plains like a stone exclamation, reminding us that messages once rode the wind and fire. Maybe that's the heart of these hidden chapters. They aren't hiding from us. We're the ones who stop early. We pause where the pavement ends and mistake the parking lot for the ending. Out in the wind, the wall is messier and more honest. It shows its seams. It shows how time edits without asking permission. It shows how humans build grand things, and how those grand things meet rivers, deserts, and the quiet mathematics of erosion. The surprise isn't that the wall changes, it's that it keeps changing and still remains unmistakably itself. So if you ever get the chance, choose a map with fewer exclamation points. Pick the trail that looks like a scribble. Let your shoes find wild brick, sand-soft rampart, and drowned gate. Listen for larks and distant water. Watch ants explore a parapet that once watched horsemen. Press your palm to a cool stone and feel the slow pulse of a mountain. Then step back, breathe in, and remember. The greatest wonders aren't always the framed ones. Sometimes they're the ones we finally notice when the frame falls away. If this expanded your map of the Great Wall, share it with someone who only knows the postcard version. Then subscribe to Curio Wonder for more journeys that turn famous places into fresh discoveries.